My name is Jacob Adams. I'm a fitness and leadership coach. I help people just like you get to the next level in the gym by burning fat, building muscle, increasing energy, world-class supplementation, and building championship mindsets that allow you to gain access to the next level within yourself. Have you been dealing with feelings of sadness or not necessarily knowing how to process or what words to give the feelings, maybe of alienation, of feeling alone, or like no one would understand what it feels like to have a parent that has disabilities, maybe a loved one, family member? You know, I actually didn't hear the technical name for my dad's disability till I was a full grown adult. My relationship with my father will show some of the hidden struggles he must have faced in being diagnosed with cerebral palsy. My dad does not have very obvious symptoms or dramatic symptoms, as when he was born, the umbilical cord caused a lack of oxygen to get to his brain, and that was one of the main reasons why he developed cerebral palsy. Growing up, you know, he didn't really take care of his health. That is one of the things I could tell you I observed. Where was that from? Was it because life had told him that he had a disability? Was it because maybe perhaps the school system, you know, placated to him, saying, you know what, you're disabled, it's okay, you have a disability? Even though the disability wasn't dramatic, I sometimes think to myself, what if it wasn't dramatic, if it wasn't such an obvious thing, maybe a little slurring, maybe a small like stutter in his step. These things are not monumental disabilities. So I thought about it over the years as to why he never took care of his dieting, why he let himself become overweight, to the point where he's now a man of 60 some years old with diabetes, with a stent in his heart, with a stroke. And to say that those things, his physical ailments, his struggles, have broken my heart would be an understatement. You see, the struggle and the heartbreak that I've experienced in having a relationship with my father, sometimes the lack thereof, understanding how the relationship with his father was not good, how my grandpa served in the war, he came back with PTSD, and he made my dad's life difficult. You know, understanding this now as a full-grown man has been some of the most painful, alienating realities that I experience on sometimes a daily basis, a monthly basis, a yearly basis. But it's like a cloud that is always in the sky, or it comes back out of the sky to haunt me, or to show a symptom of its life, or show a symptom of its truth. For example, my dad this Christmas was in the hospital for a seizure. It was said that the seizure may have come from a stroke he had years ago that moved in his brain, and you know, he takes a load of medications now. Neil Strauss, in one of his books, said, yeah, the wounds that you experience as a child will fuck you, but they tend to leave a tip on the nightstand. So I'll be examining what that tip may be for me. I'll be telling you some of the strengths, some of the ways I deal, some of the positive that comes from these emotions, from this relationship that is in no way, shape, or form a textbook great relationship. When I sit down with my father nowadays, I'm very grateful. It's a good time. We laugh. I don't know how many more of those relationships we'll have. Going back to growing up with my dad. He had a temper, and I think back, here he has his wife who he loved very much, which is my mother. He loved very much, and he felt, I think on some level, something to prove to the world and to himself that he didn't have a disability. And the thought that he had a disability of any sort was a very sensitive topic for him. Now, these are things I'm verbalizing now, looking back at his behavior, how whenever this concept of a disability was brought up, how he acted, however subtle. One time he told me, there on the front lawn, he said, "Jacob, when the doctor said that you were fine, I was very grateful." I didn't know what he meant when he said those words so much. I might have been like 8 years old, 10 years old. But looking back and piecing it all together, to me, that was him saying, everything's going to be okay with you. And I'm so grateful. Now I see that as he didn't get that diagnosis. See, he wasn't told that. Things weren't all going to be okay for him. It's very painful. It's very painful. I want to take a moment to process all of these emotions and the depths of the meanings of the conversations, of understanding the dynamics of the psychology, childhood wounds, PTSD, insecurities, sexual dynamics between men and women. It's a lot, dude. It's a lot. If someone could tell me, as far as the world is concerned, I don't, in life as a meaning in the United States of America, I have processed as much bad news as the average American wants to. I know there's people in the ghetto or people that are strung up on drugs, on drug addictions, or in prostitution. I know there's people that have worse lives than me. I'm not trying to placate myself and think that I've had the worst life. What I am saying is that the level of pain in processing the relationship with my father has been one of my most intense processes of my life. He didn't run really well, but he could run. And so that's been the story. It's like he never took care of his body. He had trouble running. He didn't eat well. He had a temper issue because of his dad. Now, he's had a lot of good qualities. He has a lot of good qualities. He can tell jokes. He loves to joke. He's always loved to joke. He's got a very good heart, one of the best hearts in the world. He's not out to hurt people. Man, I think I got those things from him. A sincere, generous love for people. Like, he once told me, he said, Jacob, you're not the type of person that'll cross somebody. You're not out to hurt somebody. You put your boundary. And if someone crosses it, that's different. But you don't go out hurting people. He said that to me about last year sometime. And in a nutshell, it's the hardest thing of having a father with this disability has been that, you know, his own insecurity with it. And how it made him treat us, and how it made him, or he felt he had to treat others or the world because of it. Maybe how he had to defend himself. I would remember kids saying, you know, why does your dad walk with a little limp? And so it got worse. You know, there was a time when things escalated. His business was going down in sales. Things were going, and I guess it was a downward spiral to a degree, to the point where, you know, my mom had served him divorce papers, and, you know, he soon, one day, like the epitome of it all was one day I wake up, my mother is in my sister's room with her and I guess they were, you know, divorcing. I don't know. They were going through issues. And he comes in, and I guess angry, maybe, I don't know what he had done, but he starts pulling her hair. And it was very violent. It wasn't a gentle pull of the hair. And that's, to me, when my dad's dark side basically took over. And, you know, all the PTSD, all the insecurities, all the power struggles, all the sexual tension they had with my mom, and the fights, financial problems, it all escalated to where he pulled her hair one day. Me and him got into a physical fight, and it didn't end well. We ended up getting the cops involved, and he ended up getting arrested. That happened once or twice. You know. Eventually the family separated. And that's been like my biggest shit. As you can imagine, you know, that's been over 20 years now since that happened. And I'm now able to speak of it freely. I'm now able to take a step back, analyze it, see how it has affected me, see what I don't want to be because of it. I don't have kids. I want to get married to someone that isn't going to be violent, or someone that respects peace and harmony and the family life. I mean, that's where I'm at with it. That's where I'm at with it. That through going through all of these ups and downs with my dad, whether it's 20 years ago or just his Christmas with his family, with his diabetes and his heart issues, and you know, you get to a point where, or I've got to a point where it's like, I'm so grateful he's alive. I pray every day for him. I text him every day. I talk to him and go visit him when I can. He currently is on disability. He has a person that helps him around his apartment. My grandma passed away in 2014. And, you know, so much of my life was spent avoiding these truths. Like, so much of my life has been spent dancing around these direct facts, to not come across so vulnerable, to not come across so hurt by all of this, and hide this pain. And on some level, it's as if by hiding it and keeping it bottled away for so long, it's had a quiet power over me. And every time I chip away at some of this and expose it on YouTube, whether it's through Jordan Peterson's self-authoring, etc., but I've never spoken so directly of it. And I know that once I click stop, I'll feel so much better that it's out. And once this is uploaded, it's out. My brother feels he grew up without my dad, and he feels like so hurt from that. Like, his level of hurt from that is so immense. He doesn't even ever know how to verbalize it, and he gets into his own problems because of that. It's like I'm at this stage, man, where I just want to break the cycles of this problems with family and anger and shit like that, dude. So what's come of it? What's the good of all this? Of all of this? It's that, I work out because I never saw him work out, and as trivial as that is, I've built a career on it. I've become a coach because of it. In a way, I've become and searched for what my dad didn't give me. And that hurts to say. And I guess when you experience that pain, that rawness, and you honor it, you can start seeing how that pain is in you. You can start seeing how that pain is in you. It's always in you. Like, at all times, it's always there. Some way, somehow, it's there. I sometimes wonder who can tell I have that pain. Who can tell I have that hurt. Other things that the positive of all of this stuff is that, I sometimes will walk through the day and do things like even this video, whether it's training a client, writing a book, learning an instrument, something that is productive. I think to myself in some ways that my dad can be proud and I can live through him. He can live through me a little bit. Like, do it for my dad and my mom. And so you do it. You take all the love you have for them and you use it to propel you through the hardest emotions and hardest struggles of life, however hard they are, and they can be pretty hard sometimes. And you may think I'm not referring to whatever it is you're going through, but I'm referring to that which you're going through. That is the hardest thing for you. You can take that love and harness it, and that pain and harness it, and use it to push you into that next level. I hated my dad for a while, and now I don't. Now I love him a lot, and that's the truth. I hope that this video has helped you see something about maybe how you feel, or feel you're not alone, or see a way that you can harness your pain or your struggle and know that it's going to be okay, and you can take it day by day and let it build you. If you let it build you and not let it destroy you, you got to not let the pain destroy you. The worst thing you could do is let the pain destroy you. And that's all I have to say. If you have a parent with disability, or you know what I'm talking about, and you'd like to share a little bit about your story, engage with a comment below. That's all. This one video went down to my deepest core pains and feels, and just wanted to get it out. And I look forward for it to being public. And I don't care if it gets views or anything. I just needed to get it out. This is Jacob Adams signing off. Hang in there.